It's 6:02. I'm chairman of the Southampton Board of Architecture Review and Historic Preservation. With me on the board, we have Nina Edwards-Anker, Susan Stevenson, Jane Clare, and Catherine Buxton. So with that, we have a forum. So I'm going to motion to open the December 8th meeting of the Board of Architecture Review and Historic Preservation. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, first things on the agenda are minutes approval. The first one from November 10th. Did everyone have a chance to get and read the minutes?
Yeah,
Any comments or changes or corrections?
I didn't.
Okay, so motion to accept the minutes from November 10th, 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Same question, November 24th. Everyone received the minutes from the last meeting?
Yep.
Any questions or comments? Okay, so motion to approve the minutes from November 24th, 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Before I go any further, also with us tonight, we have Alex Wallach, our planning director. We have our counsel with us, Alice Cooley. Jackie Allen as our recording secretary is in the back, and Sage is handling all things videography. So with that, we will move on. We have no written decisions tonight, but we have 3 adjournment requests. The first one is from Meadowmere Partners at 65 Meadowmere Lane. And I believe they're asking for an adjournment to February 9th, so a motion to accept the applicant's request for an adjournment to February 9th for 66 Meadowmere Lane. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next is from Sakura Realty, 131, Flying Point Road, to be adjourned until March 9th. So motion to accept the applicant's request for an adjournment for 131 Flying Point Road to March 9th. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the third is for Woolden Manor at 16 Gin Lane. Request to adjourn till January 12th. So motion to accept the applicant's request for Woolden Manor, 16 Gin Lane, to January 12th. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. So that brings us to our first carryover matter, which is 251 Pond Lane. Good evening. If you'll pull the mic close and introduce yourself, please.
My name is Pablo Jendretsky, Design Planning Consultants.
Okay.
I am here on a follow-up hearing from November
28th?
24th, I think.
Okay.
I might start by recalling some of the main comments that I heard on the previous meeting,
Okay.
which we intend to address or have addressed. I'm just going to go through a quick list here. The key item was the windows to wall ratio. Another comment was casement windows instead of double hang windows. Roof overhangs were extending a bit too much. There was a comment about the material of the gutters being painted aluminum. There was a comment about the trim being heavy. And then facade by facade, there was a comment about the continuous windows on the east facade that looked institutional. There was a comment about the skylights that looked a bit like a renovation. The chimneys, the columns being heavy, the window facing north at the stair, which was excessive in size, generating light pollution. Then there were comments about the pool house being heavy at the top, being very high, and also the number of windows. So in the new design, we actually heard you, and I agree with most of the comments. So we went back and did a significant effort over the holidays. And so I'd like to just maybe go through elevation and point out the things that we did in response to the comments.
That would be great, thank you.
Also, you can check on the technical elevations. We did the window to wall ratio calculations. That's something you can look in the drawing. But basically, we stayed very low in each one of them. So, front elevation, we made the dormers less wide. The roof became smaller. We eliminated 4 windows. We reduced the size of the windows at the bottom. And there was a comment also about how the columns were very thick, at least in the perception of it. And that's because the 2 front columns, in the front porch, there were 2 columns next to each other and then 2 columns next to each other. So what we did is flip them 90 degrees, so now the columns are one in front of the other. So as seen from the street, they basically are just one column. Then we also reduced the size, an extension of the small roof above the upper level windows, and also cleaned up the details on the columns and the porch eave to be simpler, as well as the bottom of the cantilevered window overhangs, which I understand were also a concern. We had brackets that were not a very typical architectural, detailed language in the area, so those are removed. I'm just going to continue with the east elevation. The east elevation had a continuous window on the second floor, opening to a corridor in the back. So what we did is we made it into intermittent windows. There were also skylights that were a stock item, which we now turned into a skylight that is a copper traditional design. The language, and I can show you here. I'm not sure if you want to do that later, but let's see. Where is this? I don't know where it is. Anyway, we have a copper language instead of Velux. Then we also made the lower level patio doors, 1 module less. We reduced the size of the door in the balcony, which was a 9-foot door, now it's an 8-foot door. And the balcony got reduced in width and in depth. We also removed the brackets. And so that's that for that elevation. And then let me just comment something. The reason this is a balcony and not an extended, terrace with columns is because from the tennis court, looking towards the house, we wanted to open up and let it breathe, so that the tennis court is not on top of more architecture, but rather on an open space. And then we have the New Orleans elevation, as we find it at the office. This elevation had columns on the first floor and the second floor terrace, supporting a roof that, the comment was that it looked more like a New Orleans kind of house, or Colorado, so we basically retired the roof backwards. We removed the columns. We removed a portion of the terrace in front of the south wing of the house and turned that patio door into a window. Now, all these windows are double hangs. And we also reduced the size of the patio doors on the second floor. So now, instead of being almost continuous as in the bottom, they're basically 6 foot wide. And also reduced the door in the main bedroom. So that's the only place where we kept the roof overhang longer. Actually, here's, and we went to gather information around the village. And as much as there may not be extended roof alone without anything below, there are a lot of samples of terraces that are enclosed more like an alcove. This is all Southampton Village. So in a way, we think that there is a precedent for that in the town. I mean, worst comes to worst, we could enclose this into an alcove to resemble more of the local language. But overall, we think this facade now will turn into a Southampton facade rather than something else. Then we have the north facade, which also had the comments of excessive windows and not symmetrical, so we simplified the windows, we eliminated windows, we made them more aligned, and we reduced significantly the size of these dormers. The windows had 3 modules, now we have 2, and that made the width of the roof be less wide and less tall, and the same thing on the dormer in the bedroom. In addition to that, and this goes to the comment of light pollution, let me just show you this first. This is 251 Pond Lane, 267 and 217. This window, the stair window, is basically facing north into 2 properties that have tennis courts, so and far away, so that we don't think that's a problem. The only light pollution problem could be to 217 Pond Lane. So what I show here is that even at the setback line of 35 feet, we are about 217 feet away from it, roughly. That's assuming that this house gets demolished and that all the trees here are going to get demolished. But the truth is that that property is an old property with a lot of old trees here.
That's not good.
So for that window should never really be a problem. In any case, to address that, we proposed louvers on the east side, because the purpose of this window for us is to look out into light as one walks down the corridor and into the stair. So this way, this light will never really face east. So that's that for the north. And then in the pool house, we took note, we made the columns simpler, smaller boots, and removed 1 module of windows. So instead of being more windows and less wall, we have more wall, less windows. And we took out the clerestories. We made the whole house 3 foot shorter, reduced the thickness of the roof by 6 inches. And that's it. Actually, here I took a couple of renders of how the house would look in the evening towards the east. Actually, you can see both. I mean, this is not really total night, but so that the render could tell the story, I made them in the evening. So you can see this is a 15-foot hedge. And assuming, of course, there are no trees, but really the truth is that it's all full of trees. And then we have the gate that wasn't shown before. which is a somewhat traditional design, mahogany doors, stone pillars, 40% open. That's that. So that's it.
Okay. Board members, questions, comments?
Well, you certainly listened to our comments and took everything into consideration. I think the house is much improved because of that. My question is the balcony size. It runs the entire length of that middle part and the other room, so.
This
what
one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what is this, what is the balcony size?
What's the balcony size? It's 19 feet wide in the bedroom part on the north, and then 38-foot wide in the center, between the two wings.
That
It's
seems,
60 feet altogether? Yes?
Right, 58 or something.
Do we have
19
the
and
depth
38, no,
of it?
it's 57.
it's 19 feet deep, is that right?
19 feet
Well, he meant long, I think.
Wow.
in the bedroom part, which is the width of the wing, and then the middle balcony between the two wings occupies the full length.
And how
Which is-
deep is it?
It's I think it's 10 foot.
Wow, that's big for us. And what,
My other comment would be, I'm still not sure about this, you're calling it a traditional skylight, or, it still just seems to be distracting from the home.
Okay, let's see if I have this one. Well, I mean, the idea is it could be a custom designed skylight made out of copper.
oh, it's
Just
like a
like
clear
copper.
story. Right? I don't mind that.
I have actually references, but I didn't bring them.
Well, those are my comments for right now. I
Thank you.
think the balcony's too large. And, oh, I did have one more question. You have a lot of mounted lights. I'm wondering if those are dark sky compliant?
I think they are.
Well, I think they have to be, or we can't approve them.
Right.
Kathy?
I'm mulling still. I mean, I have some issues with the pool house, I
Okay.
would say also, and the way it relates to, the main house. I don't know,
You're mulling?
I'm mulling.
Is
Susan,
that
Nina?
glass on the top of the pool house?
No, it's a pergola.
In this rendering, it looks like,
It's a louvered pergola where they close and open, I
Oh.
think.
It's a
Yeah.
pergola.
Do
It's all-
they close and open?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah.
okay, only because it looks like glass here.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
there's no
that's-
glass.
Yeah. Susan, Nina?
I don't know what to say. It's still, it's better. Those big balconies, I think, are giving me a problem. And it's so much a part of the design of the house.
Well, because right under the balcony is the porch.
I get it. But, I don't know. And I don't think this is, and I also find that this is for, I know it's setbacks, but it's all jammed together in a way that I find unsettling. But I don't think that's what we do, so I can't say anything about it. But
And
that
there's
can
the
be-
balcony off the garage too, no?
Oh, yeah, the flying balcony.
Nina?
Overall, I think it's improved, and thank you for listening. There's a few elements that I would why the balcony bites into the
house?
into the house, I don't know.
The one in the east elevation?
Aerial view and east, let's see, and then,
Yeah.
but that's just, no, west elevation. And then there's something in the south elevation, I just, to be more sort of harmonious with the traditional house in Southampton, I would believe that these, white stripes that you have under these dormers are a little heavy looking, but, I think,
You mean the base to the
Yeah.
dormers?
yeah. Those are my comments, but otherwise.
It's,
Okay,
it's like hanging.
Yeah.
here's what I would say. I think, as you've heard, I think you've come a long way, and I think we're making some progress. I think the less heavy columns on the south elevation are much preferred. I think that's great. I still think that the little roof over on the right-hand side of the south elevation is unnecessary. That as a singular roof, I think, would calm that down a little bit. But from that front elevation, the thing I don't understand is you got four surface-mounted lights. I understand the surface-mounted lights that are by the front door. I don't understand the four surface-mounted lights that are either side flanking the two windows on either side. I don't think they're necessary, and they're sort of atypical and not harmonious for what we see in other parts of the village. That's what I would say to the south elevation. To the west elevation, I think you've heard the comments about the balcony, and I still think the cantilever roof is not working. I think, you had made the comment, maybe you look to enclose it. I think something like that would be more successful, and more in keeping with the style and direction that we normally see, especially in a historic district. I had the same question about the two surface lights that are on either side of the window on the right-hand side of the west elevation. I think you don't need them unless there's is there a stairway there?
No.
No,
that's
because
an
the stairway would be below. So I understand why you need them underneath the, by the doors to light the outside there, but I think those are sort of unnecessary. In the east elevation, I still find the cantilever balcony off the bedroom unusual. I'm not sure that it's necessary. The rest, and I think the skylight is a skylight. It's still not working. Either make it honest and make it a shed dormer that brings light in differently, or just lose it. But that skylight still looks accidental.
It is actually a dormer. I did a rendering with from the side, and I have a.
Because in what I'm seeing on page A800, it's a skylight.
Well, yes, it's a dormer
Yeah.
skylight, but it's.
Well,
but I
Dormer's
understand
a
what you're saying.
dormer, skylight. So take a look at that.
Mhm.
I think the louvers don't work. They're a they're a sideways problem to a solution that's really the size of the window. So I think if you just make the window smaller, I think that's going to work better than trying to disguise it with the louvers. And I think over time, that's a better answer. And it's unusual, and I don't think it's successful. So that's north. On the pool house, bringing it down, I think, was successful. I think you've taken a lot of the weight off the top of it, and lightening up the columns is a vast improvement and more typical for what we would normally see. So those would be my comments. Anybody else have anything to add?
Yeah, I would definitely agree about the extra lighting is not necessary all the way across the front or.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. Any questions about what you're hearing?
Very clear.
Okay.
I guess the argument about the big stair window, which is now a lot smaller than we had before, is the argument necessarily just light pollution, or it's just an architectural?
It's a combination of both. It's a little bit of light pollution also, I think, from just the size of the window to the opening that you have it in. It feels a little large in scale. So I think if you brought that window down like 20% in scale, which is probably going to bring, for balance, the one on the other side down a little bit more to the width of the door below it, I think you could probably even that out,
Right.
would be my guess.
Yes, it's a negotiation between what works with the stair, because at the end of the day, the purpose was to have a stair that is a glass box open to the green.
Right. Well, I'm just telling you this is what I'm hearing from all the comments. So,
Understood. Yeah.
are there any comments from the public?
Guess not.
All right. So Any other questions about the comments, or are they clear?
I think they're very clear.
Okay.
Very clear.
And again, let me also iterate that, thank you for giving the list of what you heard, and thank you for how far you've come, because I think we're getting, much closer now to a product that's going to be a beautiful house when we get there. So we really appreciate that.
I agree that actually your comments made the house better for sure.
Okay, thank you. Our next meeting is January 12th, so you have time. So you want us to adjourn until then?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to motion to accept the applicant's request for an adjournment to January 12th for, just a minute here, 251 Pond Lane. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so that takes us to new matters. The first one is the Village of Southampton and the freeholders and commonality of the town of Southampton, Gin Lane, Lake Agawam project. Do you have affidavits, and are they in order?
Yes and yes.
Okay. All right, if you guys would start by introducing yourselves for the record, I appreciate it.
Okay, good evening. I'm Matt Jedlicka from McLean Associates, 437 South Country Road, Brookhaven, working for the town trustees on the project.
Okay,
I'm Joe McLaughlin, town trustee.
welcome. Okay,
So I just want to start out by, making this clear that this is the trustees project, which is on the south end of Lake Agawam, on the trustees parking lot, and is not the Gin Lane
We get it.
Conservancy,
Yeah.
section.
you're talking about the bioswale?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well-
just for clarity, there are two projects going on side by side in this neighborhood right now. The one that we're talking about tonight, for those of you who live here, is the big project that's going along with all the curbs. It's across the street from basically the beach club and the church, heading toward Lake Agawam. There's another project that actually goes up the side of Gin Lane, which is a separate project, which is not in discussion tonight.
Correct.
Right, that's
Right.
correct.
It's a little confusing because they're happening at the same time, side by side.
Yeah, so the intent of this, it's a water quality project for the town CPF department. We got a grant to do the project, and essentially all we did was remove the concrete island that separated the trustees' parking lot from Gin Lane, and that portion is going to be planted with bioswale, native plantings. It's shaped to allow stormwater retention, stormwater percolation. There are a few crossings that allow you to cross over from the trustees' parking area down to the bathing corp or to the public beach. And essentially, it's planted with native plantings. We've got a whole bunch of different plug-type plantings like milkweed, aster, Joe Pyeweed, goldenrod. There's ornamental grasses that are in there, like saltgrass, switchgrass, little blue stem.
And is that the same as what's actually up against? They did a thing once before,
So years
under
ago-
Obama, when it's up against, did you take out the planting right up against the shore? of it?
No, so
So those are the same plants? Right?
it's many of the same plants. We had to select we wanted to select plants that are obviously native species, but also salt-tolerant type plants, because a lot of times there's,
Yeah, it's windy over there.
it's
Uh-huh.
windy, there's washover,
Storms.
storms, and
No, so it's consistent with.
it's consistent with what's on the, bordering the south of Lake Agawam.
The cross, I can't figure out the engineering of it, how you would get from parking these sort of, I was told there'd be like bridges over the plants.
So, so essentially taking out the concrete slab And then there are certain areas where the curb drops down to allow the stormwater to come in. But then so that shape of the area between the two curbs is going to be a depression to
Right.
allow for storage of stormwater and collection. But then at certain areas, there will be a timber boardwalk that goes from one side of the parking lot to the,
To
from
the
the parking
beach,
lot
to
to the
beach.
road.
So
Just to cross
Is it wide
over.
enough for someone with a big stroller? I couldn't figure
Yeah,
out.
they'll be 5 or 6 feet
I'm
wide.
just asking, did anyone think of this before
Yes.
it's finished? It's those year plants that we have are so tiny. You'd need
The
help.
crossings, I think, they're 6 feet wide.
Okay,
So 6 feet wide to allow, people to
yeah,
cross.
good. Or
So it's
Joe,
similar to.
you know,
Yeah.
he needs room too when he
Yeah.
goes across.
Right, so they are flush with grade, so there's no.
Oh, they
So they're
are?
Yeah,
ADA
they're all
accessible.
Okay,
And the plantings, at each one of these crossings, there'll be no plantings underneath. There'll be stone underneath, but there'll
Oh,
be plantings
it's hard
coming
to
up
tell.
So
at
it's
this stage.
similar to the Parish Art Museum in the back, in the
Yeah.
parking area. Those are concrete, like little crossings through some of their areas, but these are timber versions of that.
Huh, that's nice. I like the timber part. Okay.
Are there
thank you.
cars parked on either side?
Yes.
It's-
Yeah, so that was an important thing to the trustees and to the village, was not to lose any parking.
So you'd have to navigate between those parking spaces to access the area you're talking about?
So the areas where the crossings
Yep.
are will be striped with no
Okay.
parking.
Great, that was my question. Thank
You'd
you.
have to walk, I think, more where people could be backing out of a parking space to get to the crossings. That's my only safety concern, but that's not what we're talking about here.
Right, so we did look at potentially putting some sort of sidewalk in there, but then what wound up happening was, you're making that parking lot extremely tight, or you're pushing out into Gin
Yeah,
to
no,
try
no.
to move
Okay.
it over.
Thank you. Because I just couldn't tell. And wait, there was some questions about, there was a light fixture thrown in there somewhere.
Oh,
Yes, there's new lighting.
What is it, what's that?
It's gonna match with the.
There's new lighting, it's dark sky compliant.
Double?
So the dark sky compliant historic
Yeah,
lighting
yeah, yeah.
fixtures, which you probably have in your plans, but I didn't bring because I kind of thought we
It's
were
gonna
talking
match
about.
what the village has.
Yeah, it was,
It's on one of these sheets sort of
Yeah,
thrown in
I
there.
saw it for sure when I
But
looked
where?
through it.
so
On page 3,
there
it's on
are-
page, it's item 9, I believe. I believe it's on page, I circled it somewhere.
So there are light fixtures at each one of the crossings. So there's one,
Yeah, it's on, here it is.
at least 3, and then I think there are 2 additional ones.
That.
Yeah. Well, I have a
I
couple
see it.
questions.
Terrible.
Have you done any kind of rendering of this? Like, this is the Board of Architecture Review and Historic Preservation. Have you done any kind of rendering so we know what it looks, if I were standing at the beach club looking across this? Have you done any kind
We have
of
not
rendering so we
put
could
it-
see what it actually looks like when it's planted?
Right, we have not, but if we needed to.
And we, are there railings that go on the side of these bridges, I'm assuming, and what do they look like?
Nope, no railings, because the fall height doesn't require a railing, but there'll be a curb,
Okay.
a timber
Um,
curb, so that you don't step off of it.
Okay, and I'm a little concerned, did you guys, what is the relationship of these, because as you drive down that section of the historic district and that section in front of the beach club, there's a whole series of light fixtures in that section of the village, and they're all single light fixtures, and they go up and they have a single globe at the top. Do we know what the relationship of what you're proposing is now, a different kind of double light fixture is to the ones that are already existing, and will there be a relationship between them?
So the existing ones, there are a couple of different types of fixtures that are on the south side. The village's fixtures on the eastern end are different than the Bathing Corp's fixtures that they have. These were fixtures that were selected to try to, match somewhat some of the historic fixtures, however, make sure that they were dark sky compliant, because a lot of the fixtures that are around are not.
Some of them are not, yeah.
And so, it was something that we discussed.
Do you guys have an actual photograph of them, what they actually look like?
I didn't bring any because, again, thought we were discussing the plantings, but
Well,
Well,
we can,
we're discussing the whole project.
Right.
because
I personally would not approve those things. They're kitschy. And they're double. I think it's totally inappropriate. That you gotta come up with something better than that.
I think you're introducing a new language in the light fixtures
Yeah.
that doesn't exist there currently. And I think it has the opportunity to then to look not haphazard, but the same way right now, if you go through sections of village, there are fixtures that don't match. I think this is an opportunity to actually create a situation where there's relationship between the fixtures that are there. So I'd like to know what they look like so we can see what the relationship are, so we have some sort of cohesive presentation in that part of the village.
okay.
Simple is better.
Yeah.
please.
And then, while I understand the plantings, I think what we would like to see is a rendering that if someone were driving down or coming out of the beach club or coming out of the church or walking off the beach, visually, what do we see when we look out? So we understand what the relationship is of this project to the lake, to the memorial, to Southampton. Because it's a great project, it's a big project, but it actually has a visual impact for that part of town that I think we just need to understand in total what it looks like before I would be happy to sign off on it.
Okay.
My question is, some of the recent bioswales don't seem to be cared for, so if this is the town's bioswale, so who's gonna maintain this? It seems like,
The Conservancy is supposed to maintain the bioswales in the village.
So
that's for them.
right, the Lake Agawam Conservancy has a recent intermunicipal agreement with the village to take over the care of all the bioswales throughout the village.
So the
Wow.
town is taking over the entire village?
No, the.
Or the village is taking over?
South-
the
Conservancy is
Conservancy.
taking over the entire village. Okay,
Well,
that's good.
for perpetuity?
well, yeah,
Yeah, going forward, like,
Yes.
Yeah.
they've
Okay.
offered,
That's
say
great.
yes.
okay,
Okay.
okay. Well, they need to take a look
Yes.
at some of the other bioswales that
They
we
have
had a
it.
real blight this summer where we didn't have a lot of rain, and the new plantings didn't make it.
Well,
So
they
I-
planted them at all the wrong times. They took, don't get me started. They
Okay,
can fix
well.
it, I
I know
guess.
that they did supplement plant the one across from the library. So that
Yes,
was
that
done.
one they did
And they
supplement.
did at the end of Old Town Pond. I saw them doing it, and
Right.
it did work.
Yes.
But they had to be told. I mean, everything has been,
Yeah.
she's right.
So I think, I
And just-
feel like there's a new, you know.
Yeah, there's new money.
effort-
I think
that's
effort
right.
that's great.
To
Yeah.
make sure that the bioswales are.
That's
you know,
great.
Right, and visited and looked at to see what made it, what didn't make it, and does something need to be replanted or
And cared for and
yeah,
maintained.
what's
So
going on.
That's
for
great.
This one initially, because there's a contract with the contractor and the town of Southampton, the contractor will be on the hook for a whole year. Once the final sign-off is done, they'll have a one-year maintenance bond, and any plants or anything that doesn't survive the first year has to be at the end of that year replanted.
And here's my question, because I think some of this is, so who's going to tell them if it's dead? Because what I see is they plant the stuff and then nobody ever comes back, and then they could hand off to the next person, the Conservancy.
The
But they
one-year
should be
thing?
held responsible. I feel there's no management.
Well, we,
Okay.
McLean Associates, I mean, we do a lot of work in the village. I live nearby, so I'm always coming through here. We're very careful. We just did a project for the town CPF department in Flanders where some of the plants had died, and we check that site regularly and make sure that anything that's died gets replaced.
Okay.
So we would,
But
you
it
know,
has not been the case here.
And then just have one more question that you might know the answer to. In the signs, the reserve parking sign, the no parking anytime sign, are those designed to match the other signs that are there that are produced by the village? Or are these more signs, are these signs based on signs that are produced for the town?
Actually, I do not have the answer for that, so
I don't have
I'm not sure.
Okay, if we could find that out. Because what I find is where we have town-village intersection, sometimes there's different sizes, different colors, different typefaces, and then suddenly we end up where we've got these competing signs going down, and
Right.
one should, if they could all be, again, cohesive, kind of like the light fixtures,
So even
I think
though-
it would look a little more calm.
Even though it is a town project, we have been working, with the village directly, so, we've let them kind of point direction as far as what to do.
The mayor's been a part of this since day one.
Yeah.
He's been
So as
doing-
far as signage, if we have to make any changes.
Yeah.
Or check in with the village or
Yeah.
figure out that they're all the same, that would be
Right.
great.
Okay.
Any other questions? Are there
No,
any
and I think
comments?
the rendering's a great idea, so that you can.
Yeah, we just need to see it.
Yeah, it's very hard to picture it from these documents.
Yeah, it looks like they're building like a little town for,
Yeah.
I don't know,
There's a lot
prairie
of work,
dogs,
yeah.
something.
Are there any comments from the public? You think we can get all this back here by January 12th?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm going to motion to accept the applicant's request for an adjournment to January 12th for the Town of Southampton Lake Agawam project. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Great, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Thank you.
Have a nice
Okay.
holiday.
Thank
So
you.
another-
You too.
Now going down the village route, up next is the Village of Southampton for 23 Main Street. Do they have the affidavits and are they in order?
Yes.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for having me this evening. My name is Pete DePasquale. I have a presentation to share, which I'll put up here.
Okay.
I'm here to present a proposed partial renovation and rear addition to Village Hall. The project was developed in close coordination with Mayor Menger, Inspector Talbot, and Fire Marshal Dean McNamara to establish goals of reclaiming underutilized space, improving life safety, and expanding access within Village Hall, a municipal building of clear cultural and civic importance. This is in the context of bringing the building up to contemporary life safety standards by budget-responsible approaches to bringing a variety of issues into code compliance and basic feasibility. We view this as a necessary civic modernization project, one is intended to be harmonious but distinguishable, respectful, and disciplined in its approach to a significant historic building. We've reviewed the Village of Southampton architectural design guidelines for historic districts and landmarks closely, particularly the sections on additions to historic buildings, massing, materials, and the Secretary of the Interior standards. Our approach is directly informed by the guideline that new work should be compatible but clearly differentiated, reversible where possible, and respectful of the building's original scale, rhythm, and materials. I'm not sure how much people may have written into this presentation, but for the sake of the crowd and for everyone here, I'll say more than less, but if I'm too slow or belabored, I please ask that you let me know, or if you have
Okay.
questions along the way, to engage.
Okay.
We understand that this is an important project, and this is a process, and we're here to work with you.
Great, thank you.
Obviously, as you all know, Village Hall, or you may or may not, Village Hall itself is not a historic landmark, but is a contributing historic resource within the Southampton Village Historic District. It's significant both architecturally and culturally. It serves as a municipal anchor and a defining element of the historic streetscape of Main Street, and by extension, the village's civic identity. Over time, there have been a number of alterations and maintenance interventions that have been carried out to address the evolving functional needs of the building. You can see no further in the directory how much the life of the building has changed over time. The current project proposes a rehabilitation and limited new construction program intended to A, make the third floor usable again as a village resource, B, introduce what comes with reclaiming that space, a new secondary means of egress to meet required life safety that's actually going to aid to life safety across all levels of the building. The project's also going to take on a number of related projects like the fire alarm system, which were started and never completed. And then the third portion of the work at hand is providing a new public entrance at the rear. This is a code requirement, and it is also going to be improving accessibility and basic circulation in the building. The building as we know it today was built in sort of in three main phases. There's the original 1912 Main Street structure, the back half of which was torn down for a new addition in 1931. And then subsequently the building, or the portion we're in right now, the meeting hall, was built in 1962. And we can recognize those different parts across time. And actually sometimes, you know, there are some pretty violent collisions, you know, in terms of making the history of the building legible. I would say there's a bunch of different approaches. At times, you know, even this junction we think of here along the alley is visually seamless, but these are actually two different iterations and phases of the building meant to look like one. Whereas on the other side, they were okay with a more violent collision of the 1912 building and the 1931 addition. The meeting hall we're in now is geometrically continuous with the rear facade, but obviously materially in terms of the system, quite different. So what we've done is, you know, in evaluating the various code and egress and cost and infrastructural requirements for making that third floor usable and proposing an extension to the building, we've looked at the characters that are here. Things that were intrinsic to the 1912 building, things that were continued through the 1931, and the things that are somewhat strange about the meeting hall that we're in now. Obviously brick, painted wood, critical. The patterning of the brick, the horizontal brick bands, these are all important characters that we don't intend to copy, but to work with. In our research over time and looking into the forensics and history of the building, this is the rear of the original 1912 building. So the kink as we know it, this is what it looked like on the back, just right over here. So there was an arch window, there was a chimney, and then there was a one-story entrance pavilion. What we look at today here is a matter of trying to create in an efficient envelope a very complex circulation strategy of connecting all 3 floors, actually 4 floors, including the basement, and maintaining creating a new entry to the meeting hall. The new stair tower is brick masonry construction. It aligns proportionally and compositionally with the existing 1912 and 1931 massings. Its fenestration, cornice lines, and brick coursing reference the established datum lines and rhythms of those structures. A number of subtle, we're trying to work with the building that's there and to subtly interpret it with a number of quiet details to distinguish the new construction from its historic fabric. This includes a stitch, an alternating white brick course vertically here to show the difference between the 1931 and what, for lack of a better term, I'm calling the 2027 building. Rather than, again, knowing that this is a process and the process includes trying to vet feasibility through cost, we're looking at the brick and the actual mortar, but knowing that it's going to be unlikely to exactly match what we find here today. You can even see differences over the 1912 and 1931 editions. But what we are proposing as far as a subtle change is we're keeping the same brick patterning, and rather than the dark burnt brick that one sees in an alternating pattern, we're showing a recessed brick by 1.5 inches to show just a subtle bit of shadow to suggest that continued patterning, but in an interpretive way. We're also using, we're using those continuous cornice lines, keeping the shape, profile, and projection that registers the 3 floors that is continuous from the 1912 to 1931. And then we're also using that recessed brick detail to replicate just quietly the arch window and chimney of the 1912 building that was lost, just to be able to tell the story of the history of the building without creating a faux recreation of what was there, being able to tell the story of what was once there. As far as the meeting hall, the intention is not to rebuild it, but to effectively skin it in stucco to make it white and to bring it into the conversation, the paint, the colors of existing elements on the building, instead of making it a new character as it reads now with the maroon painting. The porch itself, as we refer to it, is a covered entry. It actually holds a lift for accessibility, as this is a requirement for a publicly accessible entrance. And so it brings a human approach and a smaller scale of entry that purposely distinguishes itself from the historic front Main Street entrance, but evokes elements of things that we see now and things that were lost. You know, as far as talking about the standards for rehabilitation, we are emphasizing the compatibility, the reversibility, really making it legible as to like what is new, what is old, how you can tell the history by looking at the building. And we like to think of it as a sensitive interpretation of the building's architectural palimpsest. There's a history, and it's legible, and it's quiet in some places, but it's actually mostly loud in others. And so we're trying to resolve all the pragmatic issues of egress, accessibility, and safety, but also in a ultimately layered and quiet way.
Are you asking for comments now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Board members?
I think the brick situation is, first of all, I realize, and I'm a fan of having a differentiation, a vivid one, of old and new, but I find that to be distracting and fussy and have no relationship to anything I've seen in Southampton Village, which is really going for it, but that's what I think. And I think that the entry is cold in a way that, honestly, it's so institutional. Like, if you were approaching a federal building where they were then going to put you, you know, ask you questions before you got in it. I think it's too cold. And I think the accessibility thing is good. All the objectives are great, but I do find that especially the character of the outside of the building, the brickwork, to be foreign and inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
How's that for saying something?
Thank you. Kathy?
Just a small point, didn't we get rid of those bars on the?
Yes, we did.
That's a
They
rendering.
haven't had time to get rid of them.
That's a rendering
Because that's
mistake.
not helping.
All right,
Yeah.
they're still there. I saw them just
It-
now.
There's a cell block flavor.
Yes, and
that
the entrance
bars
is like where they're going
It's
to
like
ask you what's in your
love
package.
style. I agree with Susan. I like the idea of, I mean, certainly the rear of this building needs help. It's not that it's a beauty now, but I think there's a ways to go.
I would agree also, and my question is, are we losing these two windows on the third floor?
We are losing the windows into the third floor.
I
but
think that's a shame.
it's also a limitation given the contemporary demands for occupying the third floor in a contemporary way without sprinklers introduces a significant number of restrictions. So there could be one or two pockmarked windows on this rear facade from a fire rating and protection point of view. Needless to say, that felt really distracting. And because these stairs are an efficient package and a switchback, there's not a way to make those windows register with the existing coursing. So I do think there's a way to, to work with the patterning on the facade.
Because I think that's
provide some
what's
relief.
making this so cold back here is those windows are gone,
Yep.
and now it's just this,
Institutional.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's a shame to lose the windows, and actually, one's a door.
Well, the doors, yeah. Nina?
I agree with the windows. The brickwork is sort of hard to tell because it's a rendering, and it seems like you're producing the continuity with the patterning. I don't know about the types of bricks, but I would try to stick with the redness that's existing.
Mhm.
I'm wondering why there's such a disjunction in materiality between the front facade and the back facade. Why you chose wood as a, I just feel like there might have been a way to modernize the language of the front facade, which the white and the glass, and not bring in the wood as another material.
Yeah, and our intention here is actually that the wood would be painted and that
Oh.
it would be white.
Okay,
And
that
so
would look
it's
very different.
reading warmer than this. We were showing a warm wood on the underside of the canopy, but I think that's absolutely something we can work with. The nature of the addition and this, each of those three phases of the buildings that I talked about actually were representative of the moment in time that they were in. And so the trajectory here is that this is not evoking another time aside from today. But I do think it's totally valid to look at ways to make this more approachable and warmer, and to bring it a bit closer to like those values of the front as opposed to replicating historic details that would suggest a faux history to the piece.
Yeah, I don't think you need ornament. I just think maybe the same color palette and material palette.
Yeah.
I think you've heard pretty consistent comment. Mine would feel, when I first looked at it, it was almost, I was going back and forth, is it brutalist or is it mid-century modern? Because when I look at the way you've done the entryway, it looks like a mid-century office building almost in its coldness, and I think it's very hard actually for a consumer, for a person who lives through, to find the stairway, because I walk up to this cold, hard, flat surface, and I have to figure out where the stairways go up. So the stairway's not inviting because it's not obvious. I think the linear nature of the roof is a little bit jarring, and I think the idea that we talk about window to wall ratio here a lot, and the fact that there's absolutely none makes it look really uninviting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of the purpose here is, between the back of the Marino Museum, between what goes on at the museum across the way, and we're trying to improve this, and you've also got the back of Hildreth, and I think you come across this now cold, windowless exterior, and I don't find it inviting, and I don't, to Nina's point, I don't know that it, not that we want to borrow history, and not that we want to replicate in the back what we see in the front, but it's such a departure. It runs the risk of making the front of the Village Hall look like a facade. We look like LA, where we have a facade, which is a historic facade, and the back of it looks like a brutalist building that we put back there because we valued engineered the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there needs to be more relationship between the two. Not that it can't look of its time, but I think in your design cues, you should look at the surrounding buildings that we face on the way in, because there has been talk about, over time, going back to some of the original entrance to the museum across the street, which would also play into this, and in a way that it does not, the biggest thing I would tell you is it doesn't reflect what the village is, which is inviting.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
why
it's
I
West
find
Main
hard.
Street, after all.
Yeah.
A parking lot by another name, but,
Yeah.
but so this doesn't have any look to me as a secondary entrance.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go in there.
No, I would
Okay.
not. I thought I'm going to,
Try not to.
Yeah, I would prefer the door we have now.
I feel like they'd lock me up if I went there.
Yeah. So I think you're getting pretty much cohesive.
Yeah, no, this
not
is great.
positive.
This is great input. I will
Yeah.
say that given the client and the practicalities, and knowing this is a process, it's important in terms of the progress and coordinating a number of the life safety, property ownership, infrastructure issues to move. In order to move forward, does it feel correct? Is the massing acceptable as something to work with, provided these issues of patterning,
I
detail,
can't
and
tell.
warmth?
It's really hard to say. Across the back, the abrupt nature of the back of it is jarring. Windows are your friend. And I think you need to pick up on the 2x2 window patterning that we have going around. And I'm not 100% sure that stucco is the right material for the addition of that. It feels value engineered in a time when this building, the last time we worked on it was, what'd you say, 1962? So if we're gonna take the time, let's take the time and put materials in that are more in keeping with an upscale village and the friendly feeling that Southampton is. So I think all the way around, and those are my thoughts. I think you need to be able to find the stairway, and if we come to the back of that, is there from the street, where's the wheelchair entrance from the, do you go through that side door, or is there a secondary elevator that's
on-
back there that I can't see?
It's on the side here.
Okay, so we just can't see it in the rendering.
That's right.
Okay. So, the squared out nature of the building is sort of what the building is currently, only the current building is friendlier because it has windows. So, that's a lot, but I think it's pretty consistent across the board how people
Yeah,
feel.
no,
Maybe a little less institutional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed it. Could you take the board through the front door changes that are indicated on the plan?
Sure, there are, and I will say that, that probably
Which is a
makes-
question, but thank you for bringing that up, because how many more, because you guys came in with one application just for the bars. And now we have an application for the back.
Oh,
Are we,
this-
was it ever an idea just to bring one application for everything to look at for cohesiveness? or-
I've personally, I've never been part of the bar discussion for
Okay.
that
Oh.
application.
It's over.
Okay,
So, I mean, this is a remnant of a photograph, but
Okay.
not, that's not something that we were part or privy to.
okay.
The question about the front door.
Yeah, I think it indicated that that's a renovation that's planned as part of this.
It is, and we're, because the building is old, and because it's existing, and because it's historic, the code implications are incredibly complex in the front and in the back. We've gotten a code update from a code expert because we had varying opinions on what's okay and what's not. I'll give you a sense of what we're intending to do with the door, but I don't think we should think of this as the design of the front door until our next meeting.
Then I'm going to ask you to hold then.
That's fine. Okay.
I don't show us what we're not sure, you're not asking
That's
us for our
fine.
opinion.
I
on.
will just say that it obviously needs to work better functionally
Mhm.
than what we have now. It's a problem of security, even for tonight. I think the one that's there is inappropriate. I think an exact replication of what was there historically, which the mayor has an interest in doing, doesn't work from an accessibility point of view. So it will be interpretive, but try to adhere as best we can to that. We were all really excited to replicate that kind of door, but it simply doesn't work from an ADA perspective.
So you'll be coming, so
Yeah, so
when you come back, you're coming back with the front door, or is it, this application right now is just for the back of the building?
that's correct, because we didn't have clarity on the back door, but we'll make that. But
Good.
we're looking at the whole building at this point, so that will be
Good.
part of the follow-up.
Because
Okay.
that is part of this application, right? Because it indicated on the plan.
Yeah,
Okay, so when you come back, you'll show us,
yeah, happy to.
yeah, because we don't want to look at theory, we want to look at this is what we'd like to
For
build.
sure, and this
Yeah,
is why, it's been a difficult project in terms of
I'm sure.
trying to make progress
Yeah,
and
I'm
trying
sure.
to find your endorsement along the way. And so I think this is an important milestone, and we
Yeah.
keep going.
Great, thank you. Are there any comments from the public? Mr. Bennett?
Sure.
Thank you. My name is John Bennett. I live at 60 Hilder Street in Southampton. This is a very important building, regardless of its specific status as a landmark or not. The architect was F. Burrell Hoffman, who also designed Ballyshear, that was C.B. McDonald's house. It's the former mayor of the city of New York owns it. C.B. McDonald was the golf designer of National. F. Burrell Hoffman also designed Vizcaya, which is in Coconut Grove in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
He also designed Our Lady of Mercy Church in Boca Grande, which might be one of the most beautiful little, mission-style churches in the country. And I always get a kick out of it if you walk into Sacred Hearts and turn around and look at the original donors for the building of Sacred Hearts. There's F. Burrell Hoffman. I think he donated $100 in 1903 or something like that. So it's a really, to me, an incredibly important building in the village of Southampton. The front door concerns me. I'd like to see what that actually looks like, because the facade should be changed as little as possible. I have to agree with the board. I really find the overhang in the rear entrance decidedly modern. It looks like a late 20th century federal courthouse, almost. It's very sort of utilitarian. And a little bit of I don't want to use Prince Charles's description of the addition, the Stansbury addition to the British, not the British, but the National Gallery, I think it was, as a carbuncle, but it certainly doesn't make sense at all as far as I'm concerned. I'd like to hear more about the nexus between the health and safety and removing the windows. I'm sort of scratching my head to a lot of this stuff. understand the nexus, why that would require removing any of the windows. And the stucco to differentiate an element that's already there. I mean, you don't even have the argument of saying you want to make it removable under the Interior Secretary guidelines. So I'm concerned. It's a treasured building, at least for me personally, and I'm sure a lot of members feel that way as well. And I think, yes, there is a time when you're doing a large addition to say, okay, this is significantly different, so it could be removed. But I'm not so sure that logic follows through with these relatively minor additions, and I don't think they're appropriate for the building. But that's just my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That could be a good point.
Any other comments from the public?
Oh.
Please.
I'm Sandra Brower, just designer in East Hampton. I love seeing old buildings being restored to its original concept. What I see that I think you mentioned is the proportion of the building in the back as is proposed. And all my comment would be to figure out a way to bring down that proportion with some kind of maybe gable roof or something that brings down that third floor. I understand they need to make use of that extension, but I feel it's the 3 stories in that square, very square and tall, just feels too much. And so maybe just some architectural detail that brings down that proportion.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Anyone online? Oh, please.
Chris LaGuardia, landscape architect, Watermill, New York. I'm working on the Southampton Arts Center adjacent there. And one of the main entrances to that property focuses right on the back of the building. So as a suggestion to the village, I would say that if you go to that slide of the back of the building, I think you could carve out maybe like 3 or 4 of the parking spaces on the end of the building, and we could do a copse of trees or something there. The renderings don't show any plant material whatsoever, even on the stucco part. So the village owns the land, make provision for some sort of landscape buffer, and I think it would help the building a lot. I mean, I don't oppose the modern look. I think it could use a little work, but I don't oppose it. But I think it's the absence of trees there that really make that backside of this village kind of unsightly. So
Especially up against your
that's
project.
my suggestion.
Yeah, right.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would you be up for a collaboration?
Yes, sir.
Anyone else?
If you look at the facade here, it's pink geraniums, planters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We always have planters. They
Here,
have
like this.
pine in for Christmas.
So you think you can be ready for your next presentation by January 12th?
Absolutely.
Okay, so motion to accept the applicant's request for an adjournment for the Village of Southampton at 23 Main Street to January 12th, 2026. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so that takes us to public hearings non-historic. We have 1, 2 adjournments. That brings us to 1 Boatman's Lane.
Whoa, that's a lot of paper. What is this? A Boatman's Lane.
For the applicant, John Bennett, Chris Stone, and David Fox, the project architects are with me, as well as John Hamilton and Chris LaGuardia. Given the fact that there was some concern at the last time about the lack of more detailed information on the landscaping, and that was the primary concern of the neighbor that spoke, I thought, if it's okay with the board, take it a little bit out of order, because the additional renderings that were submitted were only to add a door that had been mislabeled from the last rendering. I'd like John Hamilton and Chris to go through the landscape plans first, if that's okay with the board.
Okay. If you keep your microphones close, that'll be a great thing. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you.
You'll see this.
Good evening, John Hamilton, Principal, LaGuardia Landscape Architects, Watermill, New York.
Chris LaGuardia, landscape architect, Watermill, New York.
So this project is a real honor to be on for our firm. This is an amazing property, obviously located right on the water here on the bay. Halsey Neck Lane on this drawing is on this side here, Bowman's Lane on the side closest to the board here. And I think I'll start with the periphery of the property as the opening here. Coming down Halsey Neck Lane, there is no driveway access currently there. There's an existing 10-foot height privet hedge. It's not in great shape. So what we propose here is full replacement of that hedge with a new 10-foot height privet hedge day one. There is a new driveway proposed in this location. It's not the main driveway. It's going to be a service driveway. It's going to be signed in that manner. And also the landscape, there's going to be a hierarchy that shows this is a secondary entrance. It's not meant to be the main entrance of the property. The property is also on Boatman's Lane, so I think it's fair knowledge that the main entry will be off Boatman's Lane. There are some existing street trees that exist in Halsey Neck Lane. Those are all going to remain, so there are a good amount of decent canopy along Halsey Neck Lane already, in addition to the privet hedge. Inside the property on the Halsey Neck Lane portion, there's a really nice existing clump of cedar trees, eastern red cedars. They're quite tall, 25, 30 feet. Those are all going to remain intact. We're not touching those. And then between Halsey Neck and the new residence, we're going to be layering many more trees, deciduous, evergreen, lots of foliage between the building and the privet hedge and those street trees. So layers and layers of foliage here. On Bowman's, the driveway entrance, this entry does exist in its current state. There's a second entrance further west that will be abandoned. It's a really gorgeous, beautiful moment with boxwoods, large hedges, and then an alley of trees that enter the property. So all of those will remain intact, except for the hedge itself will be replaced with another 10-foot height hedge. It's just not in great shape. It's been battered over the years there. So all new 10-foot height hedging will be introduced here. And then along Boatman's, we're actually going to continue that hedge all the way down to the existing driveway cut, and then layer in new evergreen trees along there, probably somewhere in the range of 16, 17, 18 feet, just inside that privet hedge. Same sort of concept on Bowman's. Between the residence and those evergreens in the privet hedge will be more deciduous trees. We really want that layering effect of privacy from the public right away. The building itself is compliant with all regulated setbacks from the wetlands. There's an arrival sequence through the existing alley of trees with a formal motor court, getting up to the FEMA requirements of the building. A couple steps down below the first floor would be the main arrival sequence. Garage off to the north here, as you've already seen. Pool and pool terrace slides just off the building here on the water side, again meeting all the wetland setbacks and requirements. And then we're really trying to introduce some thoughtful grading to the water side of the property. With the FEMA requirement, the existing grade further down towards the wetlands, we really need to navigate that in a thoughtful way. So the idea is, the rear terraces of the house, a couple steps down to a lawn panel of some sort, perhaps a low hedge, and then we roll down through meadows and native plantings to the wetland area of the property. And that's generally the site plan.
Okay.
I just wanted to add that after the last meeting, I took a drive down to look at the privet along Halsey, and sometimes if you just butcher the privet, it'll come back, but it takes a while. But we spoke to the client, and he's just going to replant the whole thing. So, which is, I think, was very helpful, because I know that was one of the concerns of the neighbor, that it wasn't doing too well. So he just replanted.
Okay. You guys, any questions?
No.
Nope.
I don't think a pool was included last time when we saw.
No, it wasn't, but because it's not within your jurisdiction, but for purposes of completeness for the landscape plan, we put it in.
Right, thank you,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The architects are here, they can comment. I think the only supplement we had was you guys will explain it. One of on the renderings, a window appeared as a door appeared as a window.
Wasn't there a shed that was turning into
That was the only.
pool house?
Yeah, I don't know, it's such a big property.
Good evening, it's Christopher Stone from Stone Fox Architects, and
Great.
I'm here with David Fox of Stone Fox Architects.
Okay.
we're going to try to share our screen, so if you'll just bear with us a minute. Just
Hello again, I'm David Fox. We did also have two street views that we
Yes.
wanted to share with
So
you
we
all,
asked.
which we did not have in the package. We brought those with us today. So this is a view saying at the corner of, this is Boatman's here, and this is Halsey Neck looking sort of north west. So you can see with the new 10-foot tall hedge and the existing street trees, you really can't see into the property. And then this view is really, this view would only be possible if you're actually on the property across the street behind their hedge, sort of in the middle of their property, because you'd have to be quite far back. But again, this shows a new 10-foot tall hedge has been replaced. This is the new cut that we're talking about, and you can see the house here beyond. Excuse me, beyond. These trees here are existing. This is the view from, this is from Halsey Neck looking directly west. Yeah. So, and then, and if I, let's
So that's, on the side there, that's the driveway that will be the service driveway?
yes, correct.
okay.
Yep, yep.
the first page has the views.
Sorry. Yeah, here we go. So the first view that I showed you was, this was the one that I said looking northwest. And then this orange line here, the viewpoint is actually from the neighboring property, basically. To capture the whole site, you have to be quite a ways back to really be able to see it all from the plane of view. Yeah. Okay.
Chris says those privet, when they go in, are going to be somewhere between 9 and 10 feet.
Yeah, that's what he said.
So for the new renderings, I believe it was Jane picked up on the difference between the renderings, and we had a circle window that was here originally on the end of the building and the pool cabana.
Yep.
So we have changed this now to represent what we actually had in the drawing set. So the rendering is now up to date. So we have this for you all, just to review. I mean, one thing that we did, one of the things that we did, there was a comment last time about the materiality of this box, and one of the things that, as we were just thinking about things after our meeting and thinking about our response to you all was, and why we had done some of the things that we did, was, if you notice, like on this end of the house, which is the gym, we have that vertical shiplap, we have it on the garage, and we carried it over to this side, so it's sort of this balance, these three sort of points of balance. So that's why we did that. We did also just want to share with you all that we did look at some other options. So here is an example, because I think someone had asked the question of, should it be brick, should it be some other material? And when we were looking at different options, we sort of realized, or not realized, but we felt strongly again about our original intention, if I go back to this one, sorry, which was this vertical shiplap and this sort of, like bookending that we were doing on the structure. And sort of just coming back to that same conclusion that we had previously. And that, I think, concludes, is that correct?
But I think also, weren't you talking about the fact that as opposed to making it from the same material, to look like a sort of a momentary add-on, the whole idea was to make the material different?
Yes, yeah, certainly. Certainly there's that, yes, absolutely. And then I think we also have here from last time, this is the lime wash brick that we shared with you guys.
This is the brick, yes.
And then we have
Was that
a
the
new
over
version.
lime wash
that
brick
was
that we
with
had?
like too much confectioner's sugar in the icing.
Yeah. So we have one that is less less lime wash this time,
Okay.
which is more.
In the spirit of the season, you've gone from holiday cookie
Yeah, that's all I
to
could think of.
whitewashed. Okay.
Royal icing, yeah.
We toned it down, yeah.
Okay. Board members' thoughts or questions?
Well, I think it's an incredibly elegant, weird thing, which I wouldn't want to mess with, actually. I think it's cool. And I was actually, I mean, I don't think you need to actually, I realize privacy is an issue. Hide the whole thing. I mean, this whole thing about landscaping, we can see other people's houses when we drive down First Neck Lane. Some of that's part of the action over
Well,
there.
the neighbor was concerned about it.
I
so we
know that,
considered-
but I'm
yeah.
just saying that it's not our intent, I believe, to hide buildings. If you want privacy, that's another matter. You know, that's up to them. But anyway, I think it's cool. I think it's an amazing, I just can't imagine it almost, but I think it's amazing. And I do like the reference back to the old shingle style, that one building, that giant thing. So I'm good with it.
Yeah, me too.
My only question was, when I saw the landscape, it made me realize how big the parking area was. And I was just wondering if that was at all made of something that might be more friendly to the environment than,
It is, isn't it permeable?
I don't know, that's why I'm asking. 'Cause
Well, relative to the environment, though,
Well, let's
the
let-
current house is about, improvements about 30 feet from the wetlands. This house is going to be about 200. I think the pool is the only one that even comes close to the 150 minimum setback. So overall, from an environmental protection point of view, it's a massive win. You've got
No, I'm just talking about whether it was permeable or not. The driveway.
Can someone just tell us what the material is for the
Yeah.
driveway?
I'm sorry.
Some sort.
Gravel?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got trees planted in the parking area, it only
Yeah.
fits 6 cars. so it's
Okay,
not
it
gigantic.
looked,
It's the way it looks in the rendering.
yeah, the rendering, it looked
Okay.
like,
Oh, I'm
it's,
sorry.
wait, and I think the other thing is when you call it a motor court, right away you're like,
Where's
just
the
call it a-
entourage?
It's too British anyway.
Okay, so gravel parking area.
yeah,
That's
Gravel
right.
parking. Permeable gravel parking.
permeable, right.
Nina, any comment?
I think it's good architecture, it's great job. The west facade is still a puzzle to me with all the glass, but since it's energy efficient glass, and the view is facing west, you don't seem to want to change the amount of glass, I'm sure there's a reason, so. But otherwise, that's great.
I just have a couple of questions.
Yes.
To Nina's point, when I look at page 6, view from northwest, all that glass across the back, how much of that is actually under any kind of covering?
Sorry, when you.
Is it,
Recessed.
how much of that glass I'm seeing is actually under an overhang? Like, it looks like there's a protected overhang to the left of the two umbrellas, for example.
So, well, in the rendering that we have
How
up
much
right
of the
now.
glass is under overhang? How much of it is recessed from the westerly facade of the building?
This is the facade.
I would say roughly half of it, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, from my perspective, it's sensitive to the material use that we find in Southampton. It's great. You know, for me, I wonder if 5 years from now, those round windows are going to be your favorite thing, but I wouldn't say no, but I was like, because that's that one design that almost looks like maybe a step too far, but I wouldn't say no to it because it's unusual. But I don't know how it will age, but other than that, I think it's a great project, and thank you for taking us through the landscape, and it mattered to the neighbor, and she may be here to speak about it again tonight, but I hope that allayed any concerns that they may have, or they'll tell us, which we hope for, and for them, I'm going to go to comments from the public.
A vast silence comes over the land.
Anybody online? Okay. So with that, I'm going to motion to approve the plans for One Boatman's as presented, as dated 12/1/2025. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Congratulations.
Beautiful house.
Thank you.
Have a great Christmas.
What?
Have a great Christmas.
Oh, God, it's so far away.
Seems far away,
I'd
but I
like
don't
not
think
to
you have
be
another meeting,
sneezing at
do you?
Christmas. That's my
No, we
wish.
don't.
Okay, so
I
that
wore my holiday jacket tonight.
takes
Yeah.
us up to 86
She's
Pine
on
Street.
target. What are we on? Pine
86
Street.
Pine Street.
Whoops.
Good evening. Introduce yourselves again for the record, please.
Good evening, Board. My name is Jamison McWilliams. I'm here from the Adam Miller Group.
Okay,
And I'm Sandra Brower with Jennifer Gonzalez
I can get
Architect.
rid of this.
Okay.
That's not the problem.
now you want to take us through changes from the last time you were here?
Sure. So,
Oh, so sorry.
as you guys probably remember, we are here for this, some
Driveway.
exterior changes to 86 Pine Street. Some of the feedback that you guys provided us with at the last meeting that we focused on most was changing the proposed fence and gate. So you should have, and I brought my own very large copy this time.
We have this.
Our updated plans. You should have.
December 2nd. Are we looking at this?
Yes, last revised December 1st, 2025. Probably that, yes, stamped.
Oh, it's
December 2nd.
stamped December 2nd. Got
Yeah.
it.
We made a few changes throughout just so that anywhere where there was mention of the fence. But if you turn to a 7, last page. So if you recall the last submission, we had a much more solid proposed gate here. This is a gate, it's about 40 feet setback from the property line with a pedestrian gate, a fence with a pedestrian gate here, so sort of on the rear side of the proposed driveway area. So we took your feedback to heart. We agreed sort of internally that it was a little much. So we reduced the overall height of the proposed fence and gate. It was 6, so we brought it down to 4 foot 6 inches. And also opened it up so to follow the, the recommendation that of this board limit in terms of a driveway gate to the 40% transparency. So those calculations are provided here with these measurements. The only thing that and it's proposed to be white, wood painted white. The only thing that we had to account for is that this does serve as our code compliant pool fencing. So with those more wider openings, we are proposing the mesh in between so that it is, that meets the safety code, but that we can still maintain the opacity that the board requires. And then we did the change throughout, so proposed to match the same style on the 2 little pedestrian gates at the front. And we did update some of the renderings also to show you how that would look now, lower and more open.
Do you need those pedestrian gates for the pool? Because it seems to take away from the beautiful facade of the house.
They are there.
There are pedestrian gates existing.
No, but I'm saying, like,
for the safety. Well,
are they there because of the pool, or they're there because you want to have the property
Access.
fenced in?
Oh, so this is the fencing, the existing.
The pedestrian gates, that's what I'm talking about, yeah.
Yeah, they are in front of each front door.
Yeah.
So we just to keep that language of that's the access to each building, even though the accessory building, we're not really using it as an access anymore. We wanted to maintain.
I just feel that when you see this and they're at an angle, you can see the building more, but then on this, when you're going straight front, it just seems to take away from the beauty of the building by having that gate, the
So-
pedestrian gate.
How do you
So
get
would
in
you
the
pref-
building though?
How
They
do
are
you-
in front of the front door.
Yeah, in front of the front door, yeah.
So are you suggesting no gate or?
I was wondering if you needed that gate for
Oh,
the pool.
Yeah, well, yes, that serves.
That was
to-
my
yeah.
Oh, yes, that's all in the same area of the enclosure.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if
for
there
the
was
pool. And
something.
the way that
Yeah.
I was proposing to make this more transparent gate compliance with the pool is to put a black wire mesh in the back of it because it's got a double side. So from the front is you hardly see even there is a mesh of very narrow, very thin wire that complies with the pool without you seeing there is something there. So it is hidden in there without changing the look of the fence or the gate.
But to just make sure that we answered your question fully, that is our code compliant pool fencing. We need those
You
gates.
need that in the front
Oh,
of the
Correct.
yes.
There
Okay.
is no additional fencing,
Yeah, we didn't want to add any more fencing around the entire
because
property.
it ties
just
it,
trying
right,
to
so
hide
it's here, and it goes all the way around the rear, and then it connects in the front. So without that, we would have to add some fencing somewhere else.
You would just have to take fencing to the house on either side to fence out the backyard.
Yes. But then to lose the front pedestrian gate at the front door may not make sense. And I can find we do have the photos somewhere, there is fencing there now.
They're existing. I remember when the first time we approved it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so really the only change you've made is the fencing.
Yes,
Is
that
that
was the
And the
main.
atrium was another concern, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, so we
there was
did
a
bring a
question.
glass
Oh, yes,
sample.
there was the glass. This was a glass that was provided by the company that makes the roof. It actually has the percentages of how much light it projects out. In the previous meeting, I have shown, I mentioned that we took some pictures at nighttime because there is already 2 light sconces that have actually quite a bit of light pollution. In my view, putting an atrium controls even more that light pollution that will come out of that existing open space between the 2 buildings, because as you can see, there is a 20%, 26%, I think, of control of light reflecting out. So it will be 26% less of what it is right now when there is nothing on top of those sconces controlling that light.
And I do want to mention too, because we did, when we resubmitted this material, we did have the benefit of the chief building inspector was there reviewing everything to make sure we had complete documentation. And he did look at this point with us a little bit because we did have a question about whether we needed to submit this to the file. Because they want this back, the person that.
Right,
So he said no, but he did say to make sure that I mentioned that when we did look at how this proposed atrium area lines up with the windows of the neighboring property, that really the neighboring property is set as far to the street side as this residence, so they don't have any windows directly looking over this glass area.
So do you need whatever it says on that piece of glass, Alice?
Sure.
Could you, who
Yes.
makes it, what is
Yes.
it called, that
Yeah,
kind of
the
thing?
information is actually all.
Is it on these documents anywhere?
No.
No, the actual.
So we-
I'll have to make a copy of it,
Mhm.
take a photo, if that's okay.
No,
of the-
but we need,
Of the specs.
the company and the product, right?
It's-
In order to put it in the record.
It's right there in the glass,
Yeah, yeah.
but we
All
can.
right,
Oh,
but-
you can just tell me.
Yes,
Just
okay.
tell her. Okay.
This is Guardian SunGuard. And then 3 capital letters, SNR 50 on clear. And then it has all sorts of just the actual
I think the main,
percentages.
the main piece of information from here is the reflect out 26%.
Yeah.
Because that's just the,
But this would be the SNR
product.
50 on clear.
yeah, that's the model.
Made by Guardian SunGuard.
Cool.
Thank you. So it was the fence with the pedestrian gate, the lighting. We submitted an updated landscape plan, you'll see. We convinced the client to just remove all of the lighting from the plan. We're
There you
proposing-
go.
Yes, so you should have that also in there. I think it's last revised the same, December 1st, 2025. No lighting.
I think that's a real improvement.
I agree.
Board members?
It makes everything look smaller no matter what it lights. And it's just not a good look.
And we know this is a very tight area, so if they
I
have some
see.
lights on
I
that
did. I
exterior.
was shockingly
Yes.
tight.
So you've removed these lights completely in the front?
No,
No,
the
those
landscape
concepts.
lighting.
There-
Oh,
there
the
was a
li-
question about
okay.
landscape
Anything in
lighting.
the driveway parking
Okay, got
area.
it, got it, got it, okay.
Yeah, the prior plan had all of these little like insets with this proposed specs.
Okay.
So that's,
Are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm where I came from before. I'm still not on board with the changes to the front facade, and I know that I'm alone on that. But after the work that was done to sort of have some reference back to the history of the house just a few years ago, I'm not on board with the front of it. I don't think the pediment of the front door, I think it's too much. But I know that I'm alone, but I just want that on the record.
Okay.
Are there any comments from the public?
I agree with you, actually.
Good evening. My name's Amy Fraser. I live at 27 Old Town Crossing. I have a comment.
Amy, you should also mention that you're an alternate member of this board.
Is that okay if I stand up or not?
Yeah, you're speaking
As a citizen.
on behalf of yourself and
Yes,
not
I
as a
am
member of this board.
speaking on behalf of myself, and I am also a second alternate on the Architectural Review Board. I grew up biking with my two younger sisters down Pine Street to the elementary school, like my whole elementary school career there. And it can be really dangerous with cars backing out. So my comment is regarding the plantings that you have in front of the home. If you look at the height of the plantings in that silver car, if it backs out, I think it's important to have something that's shorter, not so high. You need to have a clear visual in whatever car you're in to make sure that you know who is coming. And in the summertime, there are a lot of renters in that area going down, Meeting House. I bike to Citarella a lot to get coffee in the morning. It's busy, especially in the summer. So I think it should be lower,
You mean the hedge?
the hedge.
Uh,
Maybe round, but I'm not going to tell you what to plant, but
absolutely.
I think
And actually, there
as
is
a, you have to talk to the board. Not
I'm sorry,
You
yeah.
have to talk to the board and not the applicant.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I just think the hedge should be smaller, not so high.
and this is the existing hedges there in sort of that general height, but I agree for the safety of, the last thing our client, the homeowner, wants to do is back up onto somebody, so.
Yes, and another
We
thing
can
I wanted
suggest
to
that.
point out is if you look in this picture, the hedges here turn quite a bit out because the driveway is much narrower, so they extend way more than a good 10 feet from what they are proposed now. Because the way we propose is that hedge turns and dies on the corner of the house, and then from there you got, as you see in the rendering, lower vegetation that opens up a little bit the angle of the view as you're backing out of that driveway. So that gets improved by that, but I certainly understand that the hedge height has to be controlled.
Okay, well, again, please direct your comments to the board. not the-
Yes.
Yeah, I just think it should be a planting that stays low and compact because
Okay.
it's hard to control, and make sure it's always cut to a height that is, the appropriate visual for all traffic that's on that sidewalk. That's
Okay.
my concern.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments?
May I just add one small thing? It seems nitpicky, but I just wonder, because the house has this traditional language, whether just rotating the gate vertical instead of horizontal might match more the aesthetic. It's just a thought.
Did you guys think about that?
This
was the style they preferred.
Yeah, the clients really
The client wants
love,
the
yeah.
horizontal. Okay.
Okay. With that, then, I guess I am going to motion to approve the application for 86 Pine Street based on the presentation on December the 8th. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That takes us to new matters, 15 Ann's Lane. Do you have the affidavits, and are they in order?
Yes.
Great. Hello?
Hello, I'm George Plamondon, I'm one of the owners.
And I'm Jim McChesney, the architect.
Okay.
This project.
Counselor, do you want us to deal with the landmark question for the proposed demolition first?
Is this a demo eval?
Is there a demo
Yes, it
eval?
is.
Yes, there's a demo eval.
Then yes.
Okay, so let's start with that. Take us through the existing house.
The existing house.
Yes, just tell us what you know about the existing house you want to demo.
It was built in the 60s. It's a two-story ranch.
Listen to such a.
We put a new pool in about 6 years ago, I think. And the existing house is in a fair amount of disrepair, and we don't really want to invest more for its upkeep.
Okay. Board members, you have a chance to take a look at the house?
Yep.
Okay, is there anything about the house that you would volunteer for
Nope.
landmarking? Okay, so I'm going to motion to, I'm going to motion that the Board of Architecture Review and Historic Preservation will not pursue landmarking for 15 Ann's Lane. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Now we go to the house.
Did you vote?
Yep.
So in place of the house that we're planning to remove, we've designed a traditional gambrel roof house using wood shingle, traditional materials, double hung windows, wood shutters, cedar shingle roof, and cedar shingle siding, white trim, and a vertical V-groove siding underneath the covered porches. And we tried to use traditional materials and give the house a traditional feel.
Okay. Why don't you take us through each facade?
Okay. The main front facade is facing Ann's Lane. It's the rendering here. We set it up as a symmetric house with two reverse gambrel roof lines. The front porch extends toward the west and includes the front door. And then to the right of the house, or to the right of the front door, we just did a symmetric window pattern. The house is on a corner, and we have an attached garage and a secondary driveway. The side facing the pool does have a second floor deck that we felt doesn't really have an effect on any of the neighbors. It faces the street, and I thought that it would kind of soften that side of the house.
Could you tell us the dimensions of the deck?
It's just from the second floor balcony, or excuse me, the second floor primary bedroom.
It's big.
And it's like 12 by 16.
Oh, okay.
By what?
16.
It's got to be more than that.
Does it?
Excuse me.
Because if your drawings are correct.
Yeah.
'Cause you're saying it's 21 feet.
I'm sorry, it's 24 feet.
Yeah.
But again, the back of it backs up onto a roof, so none of the neighbors really would see it. And I just felt that it made the house seem less massive.
Okay. Have you gone through the south and the west?
The south elevation is the front elevation.
Okay, sorry.
It has the front door. The north elevation is really the back of the house. There's a secondary entrance from a mudroom, and there's also entrance to the finished part of the basement. And on that section, in the attic, we have 3 dormers. There's going to be storage up in the attic. And on the shed roofs on that side, we have a standing seam roof at a dark bronze.
And there's a pool house?
And a pool house as well. The pool is existing. The pool and the spa are existing, and we kind of had to design the pool and the pool house around the existing, which is kind of a challenge because it's a big pool.
Okay. Board
And
members, questions,
that's
comments?
Only a one-car garage?
Yes.
Board members?
I'm having trouble with the balcony and also all that standing metal in the back. Looks busy. You know that?
I do have a sample
I'm
back
seeing
there.
plenty of, to me, I think it's, every time I drive past, I think it really changes. I don't think it's part of the Southampton, but that's me. I just think it interferes. I mean, you have a shingled house, and then all of a sudden there's metal.
We are using I do have the sample. It's a dark bronze, so it's.
It couldn't. It doesn't matter to me. I think it's, that's all you see.
I mean, we would consider changing the material.
I mean, from my perspective, over the living room that faces the pool, I think that we like that it just had a little bit more of a mixed media thing instead of all shingle, and so that's why we aesthetically preferred it. The back side that you're looking at there faces a neighbor, and it's tree lined and will always be tree lined. We don't want to see their house and vice versa. So like, I don't think that's the rear of the house and the rear of the property. So it won't be publicly that visible.
And you don't have a sample of that color?
We do.
That's right here.
Oh.
It's
It's almost black.
It's dark bronze.
What are the 3 square objects in the?
They're just going to be little vents, just wood vents, not painted.
Where is this?
Just over the front gable.
And then one of my comments is the trim level, because you've got, normally when you see a Dutch colonial, the roof comes and breaks and comes on down, but you've broken it with trim that goes across, and you've picked up a trim board that goes all the way across the front, and I think it takes the weight of the house up, and I don't think that's typically what we normally see, and I'm not sure that these triple vents make sense. I feel like without them and bringing the roof into one continuous line is more typical of what we'd see, and a little calmer. I think the lower level looks great. I think, and in the back, I think the 3 dormers in the attic are unnecessary and give the house a lot more visual weight than is necessary. I'd probably lose those because it's not an occupied floor, is it?
No, it's
Yeah.
storage.
So I think they take the weight of the house up too far, and I think it's a step too far, so I would lose those. Anybody else, any other comments?
I would agree with Mark that the gabling in the front with the, almost like flying, does make it a little bit too busy. And I also think it makes the roof line look much larger than it should.
Makes the house look a little top-heavy, actually.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then those center windows look a little dwarfed or something, I mean, out of scale.
Yeah, I think if the roof line were continuous, they would probably look stronger.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hearing. Okay.
So you're saying that the gambrel, to keep it continuous?
Yeah, you've got, see the trim line that you've got
I understand.
up by the attic there, it feels unnecessary. What kind of brick is that in the chimney?
It's It's,
Dutch?
Yeah,
Dutch?
it's a Dutch.
Dutch whatever.
Dutch,
Yeah.
is it the Dutch blend?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think the solid shutters look appropriate to the house. Are they operable?
Yes.
They're not shutters?
No.
Okay. Making sure, okay. And then I think the little vents in the attic, I think, need to be rethought, because they look like an unnecessary, like a decorative element,
Mhm.
that form is not following function there. And then you've got surface fixtures on the balcony by size of doors. Is there any surface fixtures anywhere on the house, front facing, or is it all soffit lighting?
There would be sconces, I'm not showing them on the rendering, but by the front door, on the other
Okay.
side of the front door.
So if we could see those, and also are you gonna put surface lighting by the garage?
Oh.
There's an overhead light.
There's an overhead light for the garage
above-
there? Okay.
Above the door.
And then gutters on the house would be,
We didn't, probably, we had talked about galvanized.
okay. So I think those would be the comments. Anybody, any other comments, folks? State your opinions on the deck. Now's your moment.
Did you say that the shutters were operable?
Yes.
How does that work with the double gang windows?
They, we can make them so that they fold in half, and then.
So it's like a bifold door?
Yep.
Oh, okay, interesting.
They double,
That's
they
why
dou-
they're
they double
solid.
hinge and fold
Right.
back, and then there's a lock on it.
How big is that balcony again?
It is
12 by 24.
like 12 by 24, I'll give you, I can't.
Yeah, the 24 seems really,
Yeah.
Really,
Very-
that's a dance floor.
yeah.
Yeah. I
We
think
don't
what you're
really
hearing.
do that.
I think what you're hearing is there's not a lot of support for balcony that large one. You can
And
have
this
to think
is a-
about bringing it down. And the other thing would be helpful is if you give us a sight line from that balcony, so we know what it looks out on, what can you see a neighbor, can a neighbor see you, what goes on with
Yeah.
that balcony, so we understand.
So what, like on a site plan, just show?
Yep. Or from that, just take a ladder, stand on it and show me, looking
Show
out from the
photo.
balcony, what can I see and what could the neighbors see?
Okay.
I think the intention is to be a perch for, when we're grandparents, if we're grandparents, and the pool and the yard is there. So
Yeah.
that's what we want the porch for.
Okay, I think what you're hearing is people have concern about the size of it, because it would allow for a massive amount of furniture, which would allow for a less amount of people, and second-story noise and light issues to neighbors is something we kind of look for. So think
Understood.
about that for us, okay?
Thanks.
Any comments from the public?
Oh.
All right,
What's he
so
commenting?
you guys think that January 12th will work for you?
Try.
That's our next meeting, so. All right, so I'm going to motion to accept the applicant's request for an adjournment till January 12th for 15 Ann's Lane. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, motion to adjourn the December 8th meeting of the Southampton Board of Architecture Review and Historic Preservation. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.